everyone, and welcome to Fleet Fatale, an online speedrunning event organized by Games Done Quick's all women speedrunning community, Frame Fatale, which begins this weekend on Twitch. The event will feature all women speedrunners and will end on Saturday, November 21st, and will be going from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time each day. Super excited for the whole week. But for now, we are joined by the lovely Suzanne Eilers, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Malala Fund. How are you today, Suzanne?
I'm great. I'm great. We're so happy to be joining you all again for another Games Done Quick. Thanks so much for the invitation.
Of course, it's always great to be helping out the fund. So can you tell us about the fund and help intro us in?
Sure. So Malala Fund is sort of what it sounds like, organization about Malala and her vision. So I think your viewers and listeners will know that Malala Yousafzai and her father, Ziauddin Yousafzai, were Pakistani education activists and eventually came to found Malala Fund so that they could take their activism in Pakistan to countries around the world. And our singular goal is to get all girls everywhere in school for 12 years of free, safe, and high quality education so that they have the opportunity to live the lives that they want to lead. So that's what Malala Fund does. We're headquartered in a bunch of different places. I'm in DC. It's a great team in New York. There's a team in London, and then in 8 countries around the world. And that list is growing year by year. So really strong presence in places where girls need the most help getting access to the education that they deserve.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more about which countries you're stationed in?
Sure. We have programs in Africa, in Ethiopia, and in Nigeria. We're of course working in Pakistan. We're also working in India. We are starting programs perhaps in Tanzania and Bangladesh. We've got a long-standing program in Brazil. We've done work also in Afghanistan and in Turkey and in Lebanon. So a huge diversity of places with some really common challenges when it comes to girls' education, and then some challenges that are quite unique to those different places. And in every place, we have a model that we call an education champion. So if you think of who Malala was or who her father was, they were champions for education in that context. And now we seek out education champions in all of those places, and we provide them with financial support and applied learning, and we amplify their voice and their story for the rest of the world to know and pay attention to. So that education champion network is sort of at the core of our approach, which is really modeled after the way Malala and Ziauddin started their own activism in Pakistan so many years ago.
Wow. I love it. So I love hearing about that. When you said some of the unique challenges, can you give me maybe an example?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's places in the world where parents aren't comfortable with their girls in school unless the teacher is female. And if you haven't had girls in school historically, then you don't have, a vibrant teacher workforce that's also female. How do you match that up? How do you sort of match your supply and your demand to make sure that your girl students are in classrooms led by female educators? In places in the world, particularly in this time of COVID, we keep thinking about remote learning and digital learning. Well, STEM is not a field that girls have really seen a role for themselves in many parts of the world. And devices are hard to come by, and internet's unstable, and you have to pay for data. So if there are limited resources to get access to those devices, unfortunately, girls then are the last to get their hands on them. And so then distance learning is not an equal sort of equation for everyone. There's a real gendered element to the digital divide. So that's 2 examples of ways in which girls students are at a disadvantage when it comes to sort of not just getting into school, but then staying in school and really performing well.
Right. And I know that's been especially impacted with COVID when it comes to the distance learning. So how has that been affecting the numbers and your experiences this year?
Yeah, well, so before coming into COVID, and we worked with you all just before COVID, kind
Hmm.
of took over in March. And at that time, we were quoting a number of 130 million girls out of school. And based on research that we've done and looking back at past sort of crises and sort of catastrophes that have forced students out of school, although quite frankly, none quite like COVID all over the world, we think that there'll be 20 million more girls that won't go back into school at all. So that final figure may be 150 million or more. The interesting thing about COVID is that we all know now what it means to be out of school. I mean, I have 2 daughters downstairs. One is a 5th grader, one's an 8th grader. I've never had to navigate remote learning. I never really had to think about what it meant to not have them at their school day in and day out, socializing with their friends and getting, really direct instruction from their educators. So in some ways, it's really even deepened further my appreciation for the work that Malala Fund does. This sort of COVID reality has been sort of touched everybody.
Is there anything specific and potentially COVID related that you're doing? I know that this is benefiting them regardless, but is
Yeah.
there anything more specific that you've changed about what you're doing this year?
Yeah, I mean, we had to kind of like pause and say, all right, this is sort of an unprecedented moment. Everybody's out of school in ways that had never been sort of predicted or really planned for. So we did two things. The groups with whom we were already partnering, we said, you have flexibility. You have to do what you need to do to meet the needs of your community. And if that means using Malala Fund resources differently, more creatively, more flexibly, fine. But then we also sort of made available a whole new pool of resources that were COVID specific. Like, what do you need in this moment that you never even could have dreamed of before?
Mhm.
So, examples of that, we have, a longtime partner called Ace Charity in Nigeria, and they were doing radio programming for students, not just girl students in Northern Nigeria. And because of COVID, they've really had to ramp it up. So we were able to kind of continue our support to them, but also amplify some of the work they were doing. They're delivering, I think it's like, sort of three days of radio programming a week. They're reaching millions of students with lessons, something pretty COVID specific. I have a student in the background. I'm on an interview here. There's my eighth grader. I told you she was around. We're also working with Haroon Yassin of Arinda Network in Pakistan. And he'd long been working with a digital learning app called Talimabad. But in the face of COVID, he's sort of, again, kind of like everything is accelerated and everything is amplified. And he's now at work with Malala Fund resources, but of course with lots of other resources, digitizing the national curriculum in Pakistan with the potential to reach millions of students. So, sort of like on the one hand, sort of more of the same in that we're working with really incredible champions and partners, but we've definitely had to like deepen and build to meet the new challenges that COVID has presented.
Well, it sounds like you've really been thinking this through and you're making some amazing connections, which is great. And it's, another reason why we're so happy to be working with you. Now, I know that you're the chief executive officer. Can you tell me more about how you got into that? Like, what inspired you to be a part of the Malala Fund or be a part of Malala Fund and kind of get into the position of where you are?
Yeah. Well, I'm in DC, and that's sort of like kind of nonprofit capital, at least of the
Right.
United States. I've been here for a little over 20 years, and have always been in this nonprofit space. Like I love the work of women and girls, and I've always said like I could do anything if it improved the lives and the potential of women and girls anywhere, anytime. So before I was working at Malala Fund, I was working on reproductive health and rights. Before that, I was in private philanthropy, and we were also looking at some of the issues that really impacted sort of the realization of women's human rights.
Mhm.
Malala Fund as an opportunity came up maybe in the sort of like middle of 2019, and obviously attracted me because I know Malala, like all of you know Malala. You know her
Mhm.
as like a global icon and authority, and sort of a young woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize and kind of brought this incredible like legitimacy to this effort around girls' education. So when they were looking for a CEO, I was obviously interested, threw my hat in the ring, and over the course of many months in conversations with the board and with our co-founders, Malala and her dad Ziadine, decided that it was a right fit on both sides. So really honored to have been invited in to sort of help lead the work. It's different. I'm in service to somebody who has sort of like made this her life's work, literally, kind of in every way, shape, and form. So I see myself as sort of the executive that keeps the trains running and sort of makes sure that that vision gets realized. We have an incredible team, some of whom I think you'll meet throughout this next week. So this partnership's fun, and I know that Bhumika and Sarah, Kanika are all really looking forward to spending some time with you over the next few days. But it's been a real honor to sort of join the team just in February. So just before we did our first event with you back in the winter.
That's right. That's right. So that's really cool. And it sounds like you've just been interested in working for the sake of women or interested in kind of the experience of women for years and years. Is there any like specific draw to that? I mean, obviously, being a woman is,
Yeah.
I'm sure, a draw in itself, but so it's something that I understand, but it's just, that kind of inspiration, like what really drew you into that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, like, what's your, like your origin story? Like, when did this?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in South Texas, in a kind of middle class, white, predominantly Catholic community. And I think there were sort of expectations for girls that didn't always sort of like fit. I had two parents who really empowered me to kind of do what I wanted to do. I had a nightgown with a girl that was like an auto mechanic. And the caption at the bottom said something, along the lines of like, you should do whatever you want to do, right? Like, if that means fixing cars, which of course, I married somebody who fixes mine, but just like from an early age, like really got that like there was sort of like unlimited potential within the hearts and minds of women and girls. It was sort of the rest of the world that sometimes pulled that back and limited it. I volunteered for a time in the Central African Republic after university. And I would say that that was probably my most like profound aha. Like I really saw just how hard women worked at the sort of margins of society, how much they did everything. I mean, they did everything. They carried the water, they sort of like cut the fields, they kept peace in communities, they raised children under, because at times really challenging circumstances. I don't know. I think it was in that moment that like my feminism just, sort of really took root and hold. And I just decided that like whatever I did in life, in the corporate world and government and nonprofit, it didn't matter. It would be really focused on this kind of true north of women and girls. And I've stayed true to that all these years.
That's really amazing. Well, thank you. And I appreciate your work. And I know that so many others do. So is there something since you've, become the CEO of Malala Fund, any kind of inspirational or really unique stories that you've had while working with them or, that has happened through the fund?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just saw my eighth grader kind of like circle in the room for a second there, and my fifth grader too. Like the part that I wasn't doing before that Malala Fund has made available is this sort of the voice of girls. We have this online publication called Assembly, and I've been like really floored by when you let girls like lead and write their own story, what they'll tell you they're doing, how they'll articulate the problems that they're having, how they understand the movement around Black Lives Matter, or how they understand what's happening with elections, in any country in the world. So that would I say would be sort of the most like inspiring content that I like wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it up close and seen that, our communications team takes these stories from girls all over the world, skateboarding teams in Afghanistan to artificial intelligence sort of efforts to an Indonesian activist kind of redefining beauty standards this last issue. So it really like spans the gamut, and it's so kind of just so authentic in the words of girls. I think that's probably the most inspiring piece, is that we really try to stay true to that, right? If it's not Malala's voice and vision that we're lifting up, then we're lifting up the voices of girls because they know best how to lead their own lives and sort of, achieve full potential. So that's yeah, that's probably one of my favorite aspects, is really sort of, kind of reorienting where you take your leadership cues from. And for me, I take it from primarily, girls and women much younger than I am from all over the world who need me to be a partner in the journey that they've already charted.
Right. And again, like you said, just giving them the chance to amplify their voice is so important.
Yeah.
Now, I guess we should wrap up with is there anything else that you would like the audience to know? Like anybody who would be interested in donating to help Malala Fund? Anything else that you want to include here?
Hmm. Well, first of all, I want to include a thank you, because Games Done Quick and this gaming over the speed running over this next week, you guys have been so generous and fun with us and really brought us into a community that's been so loving and supportive of the work that we do. So I just want to start there. Thank you for that. And I hope this next week is super fun. And in terms of, sort of ways to support, of course, we love donations and we love like redistributing that wealth, which is what we do. We send it right out to the countries in which we work, and we put it in the hands of local education champions, who sort of know how to tackle the problems that are in front of them.
Right.
I think the only other thing that your listeners and viewers can do is to just remember that like we've seen kind of education ripped out from underneath us in this time of COVID, and we've been really sort of struck by it. Keep in mind that that's been the lived reality for a lot of girls all around the world for many, many more years, sort of before COVID and unfortunately after COVID.
Mhm.
So think about what education unlocks for people and make an investment in making sure that that's not the reality for girls.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us and helping us open up the marathon for this week. Really appreciate getting to hear from you and for all the work that you do with Malala Fund. Thank you so much again to Suzanne Eilers.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Really have a great rest of week.
All right, yeah, same with you. Alrighty, so it looks like we are going to be getting ready to start our first run of the marathon. We have Shantae half Genie Hero coming up, who is that is being ran by Chibi Demon. So once we get a go ahead for that, we will get started and count down the clock. All right, looks like we're ready to go. So, Chibi, whenever you're set, I will count down and we'll get going.
Okay, so we will get to the files. So timer starts as soon as I select the file. So 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, best of luck. I am here if you need me for anything and to actually be reading donations as well.
Skip through all the dialogue.
Yep. Everything was going exactly as planned.
So while Chibi is focusing on gameplay, I'm going to do my best to commentate for her.
Go to the first area. We don't do all these in order either, too.
So one of the first things that you'll notice is that it makes no time difference between saving and not, so you might as well save whenever you go through the end of an area. You'll also see Chibi sliding a lot. Sliding is actually faster than just the normal movement running, so with possible, she's going to be trying to slide along.
There's also some spots I don't want to slide because I'll fall through the ground.
This first level is pretty basic, getting used to it, but she's mostly going to be trying to finish off enemies in order to get ammunition for later.
It's also more of I want healing items too.
Right.
Because death can sneak up on you, and that's another reason why you want to save too, just in case. I always want to hit those starfish because they attach to me. They come in contact.
So can I be silly and ask a little bit about kind of the plot and what's happening in game?
So this isn't the main story. This is a side story, kind of DLC for it. It's kind of what if this actually happened, or Risky Boots is the main villain in the game, and this is how she's telling the story as opposed to how it actually happened for Shantae.
Okay.
Yeah, so the whole thing is from her perspective and how awesome she is.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Also, just want to give a quick reminder to anybody watching and joining us that we are benefiting Malala Fund, and all donations will be going toward the fund itself. So get some donations in, and we can read some things out for you, and we'll be here.
So what we're going to be doing through all the levels is we're actually trying to search for the Genie crystals, collect them to unlock the final area. But through that, we're also picking up dark magic to up our abilities so we can get through the bosses and the levels easier.
Right. In general, Chibi is going to be trying to get everything the first time that she visits the level, but there are a couple that she's going to need to come back for later.
Yeah. Tussle Town, the 2 levels that I just went through, are the levels that I'll have to revisit because of items that I get later on, or ability stuff, equipment, I should say.
This is a fun little boss. This is the first major use of the Tinkerbats. You can see Risky can place little Tinkerbats there to kind of help deal damage, as well as ring that bell so that she doesn't have to wait while the mechanism is setting up again.
And I won't use a Tinkerbat at the end because I kill it without using it.
There we go. First boss down.
And there goes the poop toot. I don't remember the full name of it. That's just the abbreviation.
Wonderful. Now, pirate hat.
We got one of our equipment.
Yep. My personal favorite equipment.
Where haven't-
This is something that Chibi is going to be upgrading very early because the movement from it allows you to cheese some items that you're not supposed to be able to get until coming back for them.
This is the area that I hate the most. It generates a lot of random enemies sometimes, and it's just a setup. It can make it easy to get a game over. Those bird enemies just randomly spawn all the time. And sometimes the game can be nice, sometimes the game can spawn them a lot.
Now the Genie crystals, we need all 15 of those, and then the dark magic that Chibi is picking up along the way is what's used to upgrade our equipment.
I took a damage boost through there.
That's one of my favorite strats. You'll see whenever one of the big Scorp Gals comes up, Chibi is probably going to get hit on a smaller enemy so that she can damage boost through the Scorp Gal.
The smaller ones either damage me one or two. The scorpions damage me 4, so it helps. There's a chest up there, but we don't need it. I thought I could go through it. It should have only did 4 damage to me, but I guess it did more.
Oof.
I was supposed to jump from the top off, and I missed. I fell down.
Snap 2.
This is a good example of what Chibi is saying earlier. Sometimes the enemy spawn as well as the Scorp Gals can just be kind of overwhelming. But
Once we get out of
have your time.
once we get out of this, it's gonna be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Is there any common speed tech that you're using throughout the run that we could just be aware of?
I'd say the number one thing that I'm usually looking for is the little hat boost there. That is usually allowing you to access areas that you're not really supposed to, or you're supposed to access them with some of the timed platforms or something, and Chibi is using a very precise jump to get over where she should be able to normally.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
And a good cautious heal there. That's usually what she's doing when you see her go into the menu, is either going to be healing or upgrading items really quickly.
I did it again. And typically those archers have either an item, a healing item, or a heart. So I typically try to hit them.
Okay, right there is a really good instance. You're not supposed to be able to access that area without pushing the block first, but the hat glide just allows you to get up there.
And that pot down below, some of the times it's a heart or something else. I just got lucky with that. So as these fireballs pass, so everything can line up. Right here, we're gonna damage boost through everything.
I love that little fireball damage boost.
Another scorpion hit the eyeball.
I'll take that.
Almost out of this place.
All right, while you're working on that, I just want to mention really fast that if you want to see more games this week, don't forget to donate because we have bonus games. Bonus games very similar to what you would see in the Awesome Games Done Quick or Summer Games Done Quick marathons. So when we hit a total of $5,000 in donations, the first bonus game will unlock. Bonus game 1, and we'll get 2 extra hours so we can watch Bayonetta, which is tomorrow night. So our first bonus game would be Bayonetta tomorrow night, and if we can get $5,000 in donations, then we can see that happen.
So I upgraded my hat to max so I can get this Genie crystal so I don't have to come back to this area. That chest is supposed to be accessed by the grappling hook. We're supposed to. Not getting that because I'm gonna need that health coming back. It's a full heal. What I need to do is take an intentional death here. And I got it.
Ooh, clean.
That one, I get like 50-50 the time. You do the hat glide right underneath the platform there and lift you up, and you can get that. And then there's no way of recovering that. So you have to take a death there. Duck. And for the most part, we can jump over all those gaps. This is going to be one gap coming up that we can't. Right here. Actually, far enough away that we can't get it. And now it's wanting to spawn a lot of enemies at me.
That big block you just passed that is guarding one of the chests is something that can't be accessed until we have items later.
Here comes one of the easiest bosses, and
Such a fun boss, though.
he just wants pets. He's the fake genie's pet, and he wants you to play with them. Where is it at? Oops.
So all of those balls that fall, Chibi is looking for the red one, because the red one's the only one that can be shot out of the cannon. So it's a survival until that happens. And then it's just going to play ping pong with his eyeball for a little while.
I'm using my gun too as opposed to the sword because I can hit the eyeball when it's further away, so it takes less time. I'm not too worried about getting hit on this boss. You basically re-heal in each section. I think I only need one more, but I'm not quite sure. I think this is the last round with them. And now he's all tuckered out. Yeah, story-wise, you don't actually kill him. You actually do just play with him. So, he's fine.
What? It's love now. Stop grappling gun. There are still shove off.
And now we go to the very last area and play this.
So, this is a fun little maze area, but luckily we have Chibi here to guide us through so we don't get lost.
Let's go.
We're not supposed to be here yet, but it's a really good place with Chibi's current items to go ahead and grab a bunch of upgrade materials.
Because all the doors don't lead to each other in the same way that you think they would. Oh, right there, we were going to upgrade the ammo strap.
Ammo storage up.
So when we go through the rest of this area, we can gain more ammo. Bats typically drop hearts or melons. Don't want to go there yet. I'm gonna smack those, and so they'll fly up and get out of the way. One on this side too. Apparently that one really wants to come after me.
A bit of farming for some ammo and health items while the chest opens up.
Come to money.
Actually, I almost went the wrong way.
It really is such a maze.
Now we'll exit out of this and go to a new area.
Pirate flare activated. Where to next? Move out. ready.
use the rest of our magic on this for the upcoming boss. And time for an auto scroller.
Yay! Everyone's favorite.
There's actually no enemies here. The only thing is don't fall down. Those other racers there, they don't actually hurt me, but they can drop items, health.
Cats fly.
And if I fall down, it's not an insta-death, but I took damage and bounce right back up, and it makes me try to land on something solid. Yay, juicy melon.
Come to mommy.
Time to wrap on the butt now.
This boss is what Chibi was upgrading the Seeker Shot for, and now she can just spam because it's a Seeker gun. Barely not enough to kill the second part of the boss.
No, it's just, I think 50 seeker missiles and 1 sword hit.
Yep, barely.
So we don't go down below there. It's the second and the fourth area that we'll have to go down. I was too fast.
Oh,
Let's go.
Ah.
it's possible with this laser cycle, if you're very fast, that you can make it all in one cycle and not have to wait for it.
Which
But
is what I
also,
was
it's
trying to do.
possible to be too fast.
Ah.
I love the way that the enemies fly back here because you're going so fast on the ship.
You know, I've never actually noticed that until you said that. Which doesn't explain this room, though. That I will want to attach to this one.
Rock and roll.
So for the next actual couple bosses, the spreader gun is going to be super helpful. So Chibi is going to be using upgrades for spreader and ammo belt in general.
I'm just gonna skip that entire area, because why not? Up here, get this chest. Cycle through all that.
Very smooth use of the grappling gun along with the hat glide.
Grappling gun.
There's a lot in this level and the upcoming one that Chibi is going to be using the fact that the grapple gun pulls you through semi-solids quite a bit, as well as a hook to grab onto.
It wouldn't want to jump through that semi-solid. And get this one. And now we upgrade the spread shot.
Perfect.
Two shots with the spread shot maxed out kills the engine.
So this is a pretty intensive fight, but basically what Chibi is going to be doing through most of this is trying to jump and then use the hat glide as a double jump, and then using the spreader gun as much as possible, as close up to the boss as possible, while trying to avoid all of this. Mean.
He really likes to spam all the enemies.
You are no.
Another area down.
It's love.
Allows me to breathe underwater.
Where should I search? Hoist the mainsail.
While we're processing some donations, I just want to throw in the fact that we have some incentives coming up today for some of these runs. For example, next up we have Nova the Squirrel. And if we can get our first $250 in before the run. Maybe, I'm not sure if it's during the run itself, the next run, or at the end of this current run, but we can get the World 6 extra levels for Nova the Squirrel. So our first $250, and we will get that, which we actually have, I think, met. Let me see. We've definitely gotten over 250, so let me see what's going toward what. And I'll get back to you.
So if you see Chibi's platforming inside the water now, that was what the last item she picked up allowed to do.
Now we go back this way.
Grappling hook.
That was not intentional, but I'll take it. Mostly just skipping a lot of the area. Oops. Switch off that one. Fun fact, that fish can still hurt you when it's in the water, when it's not spawned. And now I get out of here without hitting that fish. There we go. Now we just climb up.
Grappling hook.
I haven't been eaten by a slime in a long time. There we go. Don't want to slide through there because we'll fall through the floor. And this is another, technically an auto-scroller. We just gotta dodge everything now. And collect all the melons.
Melon slide.
Yeah, this is like the best level for a run because it helps you stock up on killing items. I always tend to miss that last one a lot. Switch over to spreader real quick because we're gonna need that. First part is some RNG.
So Chibi's using the spreader gun on the locks to try to defeat those as quickly as possible, all 6 locks.
I missed
But
that
she
one.
has to react. She has to react to the RNG because the mermaid's moves are not set.
Switch over to the Seeker because it's not over yet.
So we got button mashing.
Yep, more button mashing.
Well, if I remember right, you said that it's not actually possible to get hit by that last attack there as long as you're just spamming.
Oops. Yeah. If you haven't maxed out in enough ammo, you just button mash it. It won't even hurt you at all.
Diabolic now! Bomb power!
Now we will go back and finish this area off.
Prepare yourself!
These little platforms are super interesting. The eyeball platforms, because they'll travel in the direction that the eye is facing when you land on them.
I'll take it!
Timed that one wrong, but oh well.
Switch to the spreader really quick to hit that button, grab that chest.
We have all the Genie crystals now, except for the ones that we have to go back to in the first area.
Catch fly!
Oops.
Fire!
This.
Shot! Bomb!
use it on that.
Maybe a couple points in the bomb.
I wish I had more ammo though, but the way we put it on the bomb.
That makes sense. This is one boss that I think is really interesting to watch. So first we have Squid Baron here, and then after Squid Baron is defeated, we have to fight both of them at the same time. Because Chibi's a little low on ammo, she's going to be using the sword to try to get some extra damage in before the second phase.
Just in case. It's like having 3 bosses in one.
Yeah, no kidding. Second phase time.
Squid Baron and Hypno Baron time.
Evil times 2. This game is so cute.
How about a donation?
Sure.
Awesome. Okay, we have $25 from Chu Ren, who says, first donation for this event for a great cause. Let's get these incentives met. I'm gonna throw that in there.
So, Chibi's gonna go ahead and use up the spreader shot here as much as possible on Squid Baron. Hypno Baron is going to be floating around quite a bit, so she's gonna save the seeker shots for that. And is going to just focus down Squid Baron first.
I wasn't paying attention to my health. That's on me.
That's alright. You got a good recovery. You got this.
It's just the loading screens now.
How about another donation?
Sure.
Okay. We have $25 from Bookworm42, who says, I'm always happy to see fun speedruns raising money for a great cause. Thank you, Fleet Fatale and GDQ, for everything you do. And thank you for the donation.
Ooh, very clean squid fight. Ooh. Good safety heal.
There he goes.
Nice.
And I do it in that order. I get rid of Squid Baron first because he's actually harder to catch if he's by himself.
Being low on ammo is painful, but that was a very clean fight. Very well done.
It's actually the hardest boss for me. The final boss is easier.
Wait, who could the final boss be in Risky Boots' story?
Excellent! Cat now! Stop fooling around and man your stations! Where to? Shut
Now we do a little backtracking.
Okay. Now she's just gonna go and pick up the Genie crystals and a couple more dark magic for upgrade materials before the final boss, the final world.
And while we're at it, picking up some more ammo. I would typically get that one down below, but I have no cannon shot. And now it gives me more than what I need.
Say what you will about the enemy spam on this first level, but it is a very nice place to grind out for ammo.
I want a extra cannon jump.
Just want to give a quick thank you to hitting our first $1,000 donation mark in the marathon. Really appreciate it. Keep those donations coming in, and we will have some more donations to read for you very soon.
Woo!
Yeah, woo!
Where? Oh, there it is.
Final point in the ammo strap, so Chibi can max out the amount of ammo carried.
Goes from 50 to 99.
Cannon jump! Cannon jump! Cannon jump!
Now, as you can see, things like the Kraken Ball, the cannon, those kinds of things, all those are necessary to pick up these. So that's why Chibi is having to backtrack to grab these after having those items.
And here's our last one.
Pirate flare activated.
And all that
Chibi's
was
gonna
to
answer.
unlock the last area.
Where haven't set sail?
So this area doesn't require us to pick up anything. It doesn't have any genie magic or crystals in it, so basically we just have to get through it.
Just has some very perilous platforming.
Which we skip a lot of it by gliding over it.
Skips, nice speed run.
And then I slide into the lava.
That's okay, it's RNG manipulation.
Let's fly. Cannon jump.
That jump scares me every time.
Whoa.
Nice easy damage boost there.
Eat a melon, get a melon.
Time for a donation?
Sure.
That'll work.
All right, we have $20 from Undead Blackbird. He says, shout outs to my wonderful wifey Chibi Demon, kicking off this amazing event with this run. A wonderful event for a wonderful cause put on by wonderful people. Keep up the good work, and I'm looking forward to a week of great runs.
Thank you, wifey.
I've got more if you have time.
Sure.
All right, we have a $30 donation from Ricanti, or Ricanti, who says, glad I'm catching this event live. Good luck to all the runners. We also have a $100 donation from CPP Chris, CPP, who says, let's get those extra levels for Nova. We have a $10 donation from Final One, says, good luck on the runs, Frame Fatale.
There we go.
Switches mirrors, this level kind of mesmerizing to watch.
Okay. That part's done. Now I don't have to concentrate as hard platforming. Where is it at? Bomb shot.
Bomb power.
And here's the final boss.
Shantae, the annoying little brat. Watch this.
The precaution.
Oh, Chibi's using the seeker shot while blind here, because it's a lot harder to hit anything else.
And when Shantae explodes into white, after the screen is covered in white, that will be time.
Ooh. Alright. So time is on when the screen is fully white.
Time.
That takes care of.
And the place explodes. And that's what you get when you build your base in a volcano.
So there you have it. I would have had it all if it weren't for these bunglers, imbeciles. Ooh, just talking about it makes me want to punish you all again. Get back here!
All right. And then it'll show the in-game time at the very end.
Thanks for playing.
And that was Shantae.
Fantastic run.
Yep. And it's going to give me extra stuff too.
All right, that was a great first run. Very exciting. Thank you so much again to Chibi Demon. Next up, we have the Nova the Squirrel run, which we did meet our incentive. So we will be seeing the World 6 extra levels happening, which is super, super awesome. In the meantime, let's get a few donations. We have a $25 donation from Prometheus saying, another GDQ event live with a great cause. Just right on time for my vacation. What more to ask for? Bonus games and bonus levels, of course. I don't know Nova the Squirrel, but extra levels means extra fun, right? Let's go and have a great week, everybody. Agreed. Awesome. Thank you for your donation. We also have a $25 donation from Dance Dad. What's up, Dance Dad? Dance Dad wishes to support the ladies and non-binary runners. As such, let's name files and characters after important women in our life. We'll start with having one of the file names for Ocarina of Time be named Asay after a great Let's Player and friend who's done 3 heart runs on Master Quest. Keep on grooving all and stay safe. We're going to be going to a quick Twitch ad and we shall be back very shortly. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Okay, do I have a... Oh, right. I can just look at the stream. Hello. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Great first one. Once again, we are getting ready for our Nova the Squirrel run ran by Karma. And before we get going, we're going to get in a few more donations because we have donations coming in. We have incentives being met, all of the wonderful things happening. For example, really amazing. We already have a $2,020 donation, which is amazing. I love it. 2020. You know what? I love associating 2020 with a positive thing. It's good, especially this week. So thank you so much to Ariel. Ariel says, let's start this out with a bang, shall we? Good luck to all the runners this week, and let's all chip in for a great cause. That was amazing. Thank you so much. We also have a $25 donation from Elavonia saying, way to go, Chibi Demon. Great opening. We're so proud of you. We have a $100 donation from Trigalis. Trigalis says, such a great idea for GDQ to support this charity. I remember seeing Malala's story in the UK in 2012. I'm so glad her and her family found asylum and impressed she was able to get a university degree. Here is hoping this donation can help in some way for the millions of girls across the world without access to education. We have a $25 donation from Nikki Nugs. Nikki says, so exciting for it to be that time of year again. Here's to another week of phenomenal runs. Agreed. Don't forget, we also have our Ocarina of Time any percent run incentive. We have an Ocarina of Time Medallion Stones and Trials race happening later this evening. But if we can get the incentive goal is 1,000. So we are currently at $380. So if we can get the additional $620 in for that, we will also see a bonus Ocarina of Time any percent run after that, which is very exciting.